This episode is sponsored by Miss Funky Natty, a domestic brand specialising in the design and production primarily of lingerie, as well as some loungewear and nightwear pieces. The designs of Miss Funky Natty are comfortable, imaginative, and eclectic. Miss Funky Natty is sustainable in the sense that for some designs, upcycled and leftover fabrics are used. It is ethical because all their designs are sewn here in Cyprus, and their collaborators are female seamstresses with whom they work, always keeping in mind to provide decent working conditions and fair wages. All information about Miss Funky Natty will be found in the show notes. Hello, I am Eleni, and this is the Mama Podcast, an online space dedicated to bringing you conversations on topics you should know about, and I should know about. Today, we're talking fashion, slow fashion. What is it? How do we become involved? And what is happening in Cyprus? Personally, I love vintage, secondhand, pre-loved and thrifted clothes and accessories, but I often find myself wondering where and how I can participate in this sort of lifestyle. To answer my questions, I sat down for a chat with Kyrou, a social designer who specialises in sustainability and environmental justice. He is the current country coordinator for Fashion Revolution Cyprus. Fashion Revolution is a global movement of activists from all walks of life advocating ethical and sustainable practices in the field of fashion. George's fashion project, Modivo, looks at reusing and salvaging surplus and unwanted fabrics through upcycling, workshops, and events. Their clothes use military uniforms and fabric samples, and their clothes swaps, you'll want to hear about this one, have been running since 2019 in pop-up locations all over the island. He's represented Cyprus at the European Commission as a sustainable fashion expert, and he is also now running for a local council position in his area of Ayos Domedios. Now, on with the show. George.
Hello.
Welcome to the studio.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Right, we're talking about a very interesting subject today, one that I have not touched upon in the 4 years that I've been podcasting. What does that say? Does it say that this is a topic that people don't like to talk about, or is it a topic that we don't know enough about?
Bit of both, I think. It's a subject where I find having conversations with the public makes them uncomfortable because they feel personally connected to their clothes. Garments are an expression of who we are. If you wear red, you feel passionate. If you wear black, you feel a bit depressed. So, and understanding the factions and the production cycles and all of these different facets of fashion, fast fashion, exploitation, human slavery, like modern slavery.
So people are like, I've got enough to feel guilty about. Don't make me feel guilty about what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like, I recycle. I'm good. I'm doing good for the environment. And then you're like, yeah, but what about your clothes? And then they're like, damn it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Everything sucks, you know?
Yeah.
So...
yeah, sometimes, people just don't often know where to start from. So that's why we're here. Well, that's why you're here. But let's go first a bit historically. I'd love to know, when we talk about slow fashion, where did that movement start? Why did it start? But also, more importantly, when did our clothes start becoming of poor quality?
All right. The slow fashion movement never really started,
Oh.
it was always how we used to make clothes.
Oh, okay.
So clothes were made, in the majority of them, they were made using natural fibers. They were made using wool. They were made using hemp, cotton, flannel cotton, flax, so linen.
Linen, yeah. That's
So and also people didn't have a lot of clothes to wear. Like the majority of people had a couple trousers, a couple shirts, a couple dresses, maybe a pair of shoes if they were lucky.
Yeah.
And then we industrialized really rapidly and we had all this choice. So
we went from something that we're just putting on our body either to keep us warm or to do something specific to it literally being a whole industry on its own.
So we're not, when I speak about slow fashion, I like to speak about the birth of fast fashion.
So when did that happen?
That happened, so we can have a little...
Give us a bit of history.
Yeah, all right, okay.
History lesson.
Good. Fast fashion emerged as a term after the creation of like a really specific group of brands. Especially the trailblazer was Zara. So Zara was originally going to be called Zorba, by the way. It's just a little fun fact.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was started by a Spanish entrepreneur who wanted to bring out items that you can find on the catwalks, but make them more affordable, mass produce them, and sort of copy the trends of the season. And then you had this whole movement being like sprouted out of thin air, basically.
Okay.
Because they recognize the need for people to the lust for these high fashion clothes, but also the fact that we didn't have enough money to buy them. So the concept was very noble. The concept was very fun until we started looking at these production cycles. So fashion brands and big houses, they produce every season. They have their two main seasons, fall, winter, and spring, summer. And then they have their little mid-season, maybe a collaboration with an artist, or maybe they're bringing out a couple handbags, maybe they're bringing out a couple jackets. So you've got, in general terms, you've got 4 seasons in fashion. This is how the old school houses used to do this. Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all of these great houses used to produce 4 times a year.
Okay.
And then you would get quality for it. Then you had the tailoring, which is a very man-oriented thing. So you've got the Italian tailoring, you've got the French tailoring, you've got the double-breasted British suits. You've got
Savile Row.
Yeah, amazing.
See? Yeah.
Great. So this idea of I'm making something bespoke, I'm making something for the body to hug the body properly, and you just wear it for a lifetime. It's up to you to not grow out of it. It's up to you to keep it in good condition, to take it to the dry cleaners,
Yeah.
And at the same time, you had the rise of fast fashion. So everything clicked when, all of these, it was mass. You produce and you produce fast and you sell fast. And then the next catwalk comes around. Maybe someone has a show mid-season. So let's say Milan Fashion Week happens, and then Paris Fashion Week happens, and then London Fashion Week happens. But then maybe a house decides, you know what, I'm gonna do a catwalk. So the fast fashion companies would also copy that.
Okay.
Oh my God, we have no yellow this year. Let's copy Louis Vuitton or whatever.
So it became highly competitive very, very quickly.
It became, yes, and highly profitable. And really fast to expand. So...
Do we know roughly when this was?
No. I mean, we can look up the founding of Zara, but you can also find like sort of these hints of the fast fashion revolution coming through department stores.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, Marks and Spencer's, they would produce quite a lot of stuff. And then the sort of industrialization of China, the cheap labor force, they would produce that, like all of the made in China stuff, all of the made in Taiwan, and then the production in India. But there was always a clash between the East and the West in terms of production, because we like to own a lot of stuff. And our philosophy is, I want to wear yellow today and I want to wear blue tomorrow. And I want to, I want to have a couple looks. I want to have a night look and a summer look. And this all comes from feudalism and royalty and all of the different stuff that has been passed down to us throughout our European history. And then you have the philosophy in the East where it's like, live simply, wear a couple things, So, for example, you had the cotton riots in India when the British were there, where the cotton mills in the UK were producing rapidly because of the industrialization in the 1800s, and the Indian producers felt really, they felt cornered, yeah, and they would burn British fabrics. So you had this idea of, okay, we've got all these wonderful machines, let's produce. And you have also the idea of, no, we have the traditional crafts, let's keep them alive. So this is where the clash comes.
Okay.
All right, screen printing. You've got plastisol inks that have come into production in the 70s. So you've got a lot of graphic T-shirts coming out, a lot of band T-shirts, a lot of But then people would collect these things and never wear them, and then you have this idea of the collectible, and so there's all of these things that happen all at once, and then fast fashion finds its little pocket, and it fits perfectly into the culture of consumerism. And late stage capitalism absolutely loves it because it is cheap labor, cheap products, high volume of consumerables, high consumption, flow of capital. So that makes a lot of sense in late stage capitalism to have all of these things happen in the fashion world.
Was there ever a time, say maybe back in the beginning, where this mass production wasn't so bad? Maybe the quality was good?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, it...
And again, obviously compared to today.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can't demolish everything, you know. Of course, this created jobs in developing countries. Of course, but also at the same time, these are the issues that we're now finding. It released chemicals into the rivers, and it promoted child labor, and it promoted, women in the workforce that were younger than they were supposed to be. So children working from a really young age.
Oh God!
It's
Sorry,
okay.
my phone's ringing. Do you know what? It's ringing on my laptop. That one's actually switched off. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. So okay. So because you just mentioned child labor and chemicals and all that, I would really like. I mean, it might be an obvious answer, but I would like you to go in depth if you could. When we talk about fast fashion, so mass production. Just producing non-stop. Why is fast fashion bad? And if we could take it one step further from the normies of Zara and I don't know, H&M and all these brands to what we're seeing now with it Temu and Shein and all those others. So why is fast fashion bad, and why should we be paying attention to it?
So the two facets, that's a brilliant question. It's a tough one.
Well, sorry, I don't do easy questions here.
No, of course. But no, it is a tough one because there's so much to talk about. There's absolutely like masses and masses of data that we now have in our hands. There's all of these studies that have been done by the wonderful team at Fashion Revolution Global and the local teams in India and Bangladesh and the beautiful people in Chile who are looking at all the waste. So let's start with facet number one. Facet number one is ethics.
Okay.
Cool. All right. We like to also like overlook this quite a lot. But the ethics of the fast fashion industry, the reason that Fashion Revolution exists and the reason that we have a team in Cyprus, it is because this industry is so unethical. What we mean is, so in 2013, we had Rana Plaza collapse. Rana Plaza was this factory that was producing for a lot of fast fashion companies. They had subcontractors with subcontractors and all of these people who were producing one specific item in one specific room and one specific floor of this multi-story building. And the day before the collapse of the building, civil engineers went to check the building out and they told them it's unsafe. But the fast fashion companies wanted to have their volumes reach Europe, the West. They had to fill up the stalls and they had to fill up the shops with items. So what happened? The factory owners pushed all of these mostly women and children workers into the factories by force. And a couple hours later, the factory collapsed and approximately 1,200 people died. The exact number, I always confuse it, so I'm not going to try it. We've got a lot of studies on fashionrevolution.org.
Okay.
There was a lot of people who were injured, who lost hands, but 1,200 people, mostly women and children, died. Now, why did that spark controversy? We didn't know who made our clothes. We didn't understand the scale of the industry. One factory collapsing means that the whole system's broken. And there's even more factories that are unsafe for the workers, not only in Bangladesh, not only in India, not only in Taiwan, not only in all these places. Taiwan no longer, but the Philippines and China and all of these places, they have this capacity with their workforce. They've got this mass of people that need jobs, right? They've got billions of people in Asia that need to work. But at the same time, you've got this industry that doesn't care for them.
Yeah.
Their wages are unpaid. There's a lot of people that are asking Nike, Levi's, all of these companies to pay the wages that they haven't paid in COVID, because a lot of these factories would continue running, but the big companies wouldn't pay the people during COVID, and they still owe a lot of money.
Wow.
There's companies that do not even wish to sign the petitions, do not wish to sign on to the accords for clean clothes. What does that mean? Clean clothes means no child labor, no sex trafficking. The fashion industry is the second biggest industry after the sex industry in human trafficking in the world, which is an insane statistic to hold.
Yes.
So this is ethics. That's the basis of it. I mean, let's not even start with the pollution, with the fumes, with the slums around the factories, all of these things that are
fossil fuels and all that. Yeah.
So let's go to the environment. We're gonna go towards that. Now, I'm gonna focus on the threads. I'm gonna focus on the actual materials.
Okay.
We love to talk about recycling our clothes and all of these things, and we love to go into these department stores and all of these shops, and they've got recycle your garments here, right?
Yeah.
So the fabrics that are produced, they're usually synthetics. What does that mean? It's 2 or more fibers linked together. That's your polycottons, your acrylics with your polyesters. The lining is one thing, the zips are another, or the coating on the outside is another thing, and whatever.
Okay.
That cannot be recycled at all. You cannot recycle that fabric. So if you throw that away, that ends up in landfill in developing countries.
You can't see my face, people, but I'm just so sad right now. It cannot be recycled.
No, synthetic fibers are impossible to recycle because...
But we're talking about the majority of our clothes right now.
Yeah. So and also let's talk about polyester. I'm an advocate, yes, for sustainable fashion, but we usually say, oh yeah, okay, it's recycled PET, it's post-consumer plastics, sure thing. But at the end of the day, if you're wearing polyester, you're still wearing petrol. You're still wearing the stuff that goes in your car. You're wearing it on your skin. It's petrol. It's crude oil turned into plastic, turned into threads.
It's lovely.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So, and this is why I advocate for natural fibers. Why do we advocate for natural fibers? The wonderful thing about nature is that it provides us with these beautiful materials that have these wonderful capacity to cool you in the summer and keep you warm in the winter. For example, wool is the greatest example of this. If you wear a woolen shirt in the summer, you will feel the breeze through it. If you wear a wool jacket in the winter, it will keep you warm. So we've been provided with the best fibers. They are renewable because you're already growing the lamb. You can shave the lamb and use its hair.
Yeah.
They're already regenerative because you can always grow cotton in an organic fashion for sure. But with pesticides, we don't support that much because that also puts microplastics in the food chains and it kills off the soil. It degrades and kills off nature. But you have hemp, you've got linen, you've got even wood pulp in Modal. You've got these regenerative forests. Even though they are plantations and there's a lot of dispute about what they're doing to the local ecosystem.
Okay.
But if you've already cleared land for production of alfalfa or whatever, wheat, and you've got the space to grow these wood pulps, why not grow fabric out of it? Hemp grows 4 times more thread than cotton every year. There's all of these wonderful statistics, all of these wonderful things that we don't know about the stuff that we wear. And I don't think people turn the label over to look at what they're buying most of the time.
No, all we look at is the size.
So one of the things that I like to talk about with people is to try and buy single fiber materials. If you're going to buy polyester, buy a full polyester thing. If you're going to buy cotton, try and buy 100% cotton jeans because they don't have the stretch in them. They're just exactly your size and they're going to last longer.
Is that doable though?
It
I
is.
mean, how much of our clothes are one material
So
made?
Have
you done any?
I've tested this.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
We've tested this with a friend of mine. He loves his flannel shirts. So he now has a couple shirts that he bought from fast fashion brands.
Okay.
He wears them because they are 100% cotton.
Okay.
But you just have to go in the shop and actively look for it.
All right.
Now, the environmental impact of fashion in general, it's the second biggest polluter after petrol, after the oil industry. It is notorious for polluting developing countries. How do I mean that? I mean that because in Cyprus especially, we've got the collection bins in the street. We've got so many of them.
Yeah.
People don't really realize what happens with that.
Oh.
We give our clothes away for free. Some of it goes to charity or
Red Cross
or whatever,
etc. Yeah.
But the majority of it gets packed up in these big bags. Sometimes they're even vacuum sealed. They're like these cubes.
Pushed,
they're called bales.
So like the hay bales. Yeah. Okay.
But they're cube,
clothes.
They're cube bales.
Yeah.
And it's maybe one bale is just like hoodies. One bale is just jeans. One bale is just
so they're
t-shirt.
sorted.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
And then they get sent off to developing countries. So the biggest secondhand market in the world is Katamanto in Ghana.
Okay.
No. Yes, Catamanto in Ghana. Sorry, I'm just a little bit.
It's all right. It's early in the
woozy
morning.
Still, yeah, it's early morning. And they're facing a big problem because they import all these bales over.
Why are they importing them specifically to Ghana?
Because the people need clothes. They don't have the big fast fashion brands there.
Okay.
And the secondhand market is pretty good. They've got a lot of people who know how to repair clothes. This is not a market. This is a whole city. Like, you can't fathom how big this place is.
Okay.
It's massive. But sometimes they open up the bales and it's a bunch of jeans without crotches. Because the stretchy jeans on anyone, if our thighs rub together or if we try to sit down quite fast, the crotch blows out, and we call it crotch blowout in the activist world.
I love that.
But they import this bale. It comes over, and maybe 50-60% of the jeans are unusable. What are they going to do with them?
Okay, so what do they do with them? That's my question.
They send them to the landfills.
All right.
So when they send them to the landfills, sometimes, I mean, a lot of the times, these clothes are so many that they either burn them or they cause more issues. They sort of hide organic waste and they create a lot of stink and they whatever
Bacteria and all sorts of
whatever.
things, yeah.
And then when it rains heavily, these clothes become strings. They join together. They become these giant worms of fabric waste, and they wash up on the sea, or they end up in the sewage system.
That's like a bloody horror film. I'm imagining it now. It could be a big blockbuster, actually. Wow.
And they show up in the sewage, and they block up the sewage, and you've got like sewage runoff in the cities. I mean, it's a nightmare. But it's because it's out of sight and out of mind.
Yeah.
The companies are not accountable for their waste.
Okay.
So, for example, what happens to the stock in the fast fashion brands after they're done with it?
Yeah.
They need somewhere to dispose of it.
Okay.
Right. So, for example, H&M has built this wonderful... They've got a lot of money. So they've built these state-of-the-art cotton recyclers.
Okay.
And they recycle their cotton, and they try to recycle as much cotton as they can. But they use it, in my opinion, in such a silly way, because the cotton fiber gets broken down even more than when it gets produced. The cotton fiber is quite nice and thin, and it can become string.
So through the process, you mean?
Through the process, it becomes a bit rougher.
Okay.
So they use it in jeans. They don't use it to make more T-shirts.
Okay.
So they have this sort of, I suppose it's a bit more sustainable as an item, 30% recycled cotton jeans. But the cotton jeans that they have at H&M, usually they have polyester in them because they want people to feel like they can buy a size smaller.
Oh, God.
You know? Because if they're a bit stretchy, it makes my bum look good.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a size smaller.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to throw it away and it's going to end up in Ghana and clog up the sewage system.
Oh, God. People, you need to stop looking at the size on your label. Just put it on. If it feels good, just buy it. If it doesn't, then don't.
And wear it.
And wear it.
And wear it as much as possible.
Okay. Wow.
There's so much stuff to talk about. There's a hell of a lot of stuff to talk about.
So George Moore, okay. So, I don't need this bag of clothes. When we're talking about parents as well, we have our kids that grow out of a lot of clothes. I don't know. I know from my circle of friends that we tend to give and borrow and the hand-me-downs.
Perfect.
And all that between cousins and friends. But at some point, they're going to have to go. Just like all the clothes that I had before my 3 pregnancies have to go. I've given them here and there, but I'm still left with a bag. And I take it to one of those bins that you're talking about. And you've just said what happens. Okay, so what is the alternative to unwanted or / unneeded clothes?
First of all, buy quality. so that you feel bad when you're throwing them out.
Okay,
In my
but
opinion.
can I say something this? Because you just said that,
Yeah.
you said earlier that I'm posing tough questions, but I'm going to pose a question now.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do with affordability.
Yeah.
You say buy quality clothes, buy good quality clothes. You're talking about a lot of money.
Not always.
Not always.
Not always. Because you can find, so this is my where I deviate from
Okay.
the plan sometimes.
Okay.
This is where I sort of become a bit softer when it comes to my activism.
Well, I wouldn't say softer. I would say you're trying to figure out a way to make it happen instead of not happen at all.
Yeah. So I would never say that fast fashion brands or cheaper brands don't have good clothes.
Okay.
You just need to look better.
Okay.
So, like I said, we went into a fast fashion shop and we bought some lovely flannel shirts that we now wear, we cherish. So, I do swaps. I organize swaps. But I feel like all of the responsibility of the swap is on me. Every time I do them, I feel like the community appreciates it very much. But like you said, the hand-me-downs are an amazing way to promote solidarity between people. And I see this at these events. Hand down as many as you can. Raid each other's closets. Such a fun day in, you know?
You can even raid your own closet,
You can
George.
raid your own closet. You can raid your husband's closet. You
know,
can raid your dad's closet.
There's a thing. Well, yeah, see,
I'm wearing my dad's shirt.
I'm wearing my dad's sweatshirt. And I told you before we got the microphones on that this is a 45-year-old Adidas sweatshirt that used to belong to my dad.
Yeah.
Before we go back to the questions that I was asking before, because I really want to go back, why has this lasted for 45 years, George?
Because they made them better. Right. So the example.
What do you think this is made of?
Probably acrylic, or probably, is it mostly cotton? What is it?
I don't know. The label's gone.
But it doesn't matter. Can you still wear it?
Of course I can.
Yeah. Can you wash the stains off of it? And can you,
Yeah.
So wear it. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's been already produced, we have enough clothes to clothe the next 6 generations of people.
Okay.
We don't need to produce more stuff.
6 generations of people. Wow. Okay, we'll get back to that. Right. So let's go back to the why is high quality, good quality fashion expensive?
Because you're paying for what it's worth. That's it. That's basically it. You're paying the actual price that you should be paying for fashion. When I wanted, so my granddad was a cobbler. He used to make shoes, right? People used to pay quite a lot of money to buy a pair of shoes that was made specifically for their feet. And if the sole became a bit rough, they would go and change it.
So what you're saying is that good quality has always been expensive.
Always.
Yeah.
It's always been cherished. So I've got a sweater, for example, for my favorite brand, right? I bought it on sale, but I still paid a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
I paid like 120 euros for a sweater.
Wow.
But it was originally like 240, 250.
Okay.
A little, like, it's got a lot of embroidery on it. Some of the embroidery came off because my mom washed it in a tiny little bit. Like, it was one red thread and it made one of the letters look weird. And I sat down watching movies and I rethreaded it.
You fixed it.
I fixed it.
Yeah.
And this idea of mending, this idea of customizing, like if you grow a size small from your clothes, you can always take it to a tailor and fix it. And we lost this culture and these arts are dying. There's not a lot of people who are doing apprenticeships at tailors and seamstresses.
Yeah.
We don't.
And the weird thing is that people always look for these people. You know.
We have a map.
We're all.
We made a map. We've made an actual map with Fashion
with
Revolution.
tailors?
Yes, of course.
In Cyprus.
This is our activist work. You're very welcome to have a little look at it.
Oh my God. Do you know how many trousers? Because I'm like 5 foot, whatever. I'm like a hobbit. My trousers always need, shortening. Yeah. And I'm always looking for
But if you know more tailors, you can always send us a message and we can put them on the map.
We'll put the map. Is it a link?
It's fashionrevolution.org/Cyprus. It's our homepage and the map is right there.
Right, all right. That's going to go in the show notes, people, so you can find that. Okay, so apart from the...
Back to the question.
Yeah.
All right, the question is, what do I do with the clothes I no longer want?
Exactly.
Try and give as many as you can away to someone that you know is going to use it.
Okay.
And then, sure, dispose of it. Because...
is there any point in me disposing of them in the bins, or should I just throw them away?
There is a point. Well, you can always take them to charity shops. There's charity shops around.
Yeah.
You can always find these collection events for refugees and people in need.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things that you can do. Mm-hmm. Like recently we had, for winter, AFOA had an event where they were collecting kids' jackets. And they said there shouldn't be any jackets without kids and any kids without jackets.
So true.
So there is now an understanding that we as consumers are, yes, responsible, but we're not the people that should be accountable for the fabric waste. We are now pushing, and the EU has now passed laws, and they're pushing for constitutional, to put it in the EU regulations and all of this stuff, to make EU-based companies like Inditex, H&M, and all of these big companies accountable for their waste.
Accountable, and also force them to start abiding by more ethical
But when
rules.
you buy a fridge, right?
Yeah.
And it's got the energy rating on it. They're trying to also implement this for clothes.
Oh.
They're also trying to put a specific label for items that were produced under unknown conditions, under transparent conditions.
Yeah.
So transparency is a really big thing in the fashion industry. How much are you polluting during the production, and how much are you polluting after production? The idea that we as consumers hold all the responsibility, that's such a burden to hold, and it's not our responsibility. We're just buying the stuff that looks cute.
Yeah, I know. And also pop culture has a lot to do with this as well.
Of course, but sure, I want to wear my baggy Billie Eilish clothes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Sure, cool, but what she's wearing is probably tailor-made for her.
Yeah.
And what you're buying is probably made in a back alley in India by a kid.
Yeah.
So we need to hold the companies accountable more than hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
Because do you know who made your clothes? This is what we're asking. Do you know what's in your clothes? This is what we're asking.
Yeah.
Who made my clothes? What's in my clothes? And then also recognize that the clothes that last the longest, the best, the most sustainable garment is the one that's already in your closet. And loved clothes last. This is our third campaign. I'm just throwing all our hashtags out.
But also, you throw a hashtag, but there was also this other hashtag that I picked up on, I think it was 2 years ago. Shop your wardrobe.
What do you mean?
Which means
I don't remember this.
Which means that you go back into your wardrobe and unearth all the things that have been hiding in bags, in other wardrobes or whatever, and you start shopping.
Yeah, incredible.
Your wardrobe.
Incredible.
And it works.
So
it works. You're literally pulling clothes out of bags and I forgot I had this, or maybe I could fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not worn this.
Sorry, I
crop
got really
top
excited.
No, it's amazing. But this is exactly what we do with the swaps.
Yeah.
So
okay, so tell me about the clothes swapping. Yeah. So, this is something that I think I heard of a couple of years ago. It was just before the pandemic. Someone tried to do it and it didn't work. And is this something that we're doing in Cyprus now? Because I know a lot of people would be really interested to know.
Yeah. So I've been doing this before the pandemic, and it was working.
Okay, sorry. Maybe I'm picking up on something else.
A couple other people have tried it. I'm going to sound braggy, but
It's okay.
but my system has been worked on again and again and again and again. I came up with a system of tokens, and they're all wooden, and we have the 3 zones in the swaps. And anyway,
wow.
it's
That sounds like something that they do abroad, like New York and England. I remember, or it used to be, do you know what I just remembered? When I was studying in Southampton, we used to buy with the kilo. So they would give us a plastic bag as soon as you walked in, and they would say, according to whatever the weight is of the clothes that you buy, you will pay.
Yeah. There's a kilo sale in Nicosia happening.
There is
as well. All right, I'll tell you all about these things.
Okay.
So we're now seeing a renaissance in Cyprus. We're now seeing all of these. I don't want to call them trends because they're really good practices coming from abroad.
Okay, so we're getting rid of that mentality that we have of hand-me-downs or second-hand clothes are shit and crap and only for poor people.
Yeah, no. So the idea is that yes, secondhand is growing. We are experiencing this boom in vintage. Like a lot of people love vintage now. What we're seeing is the charity shops have been around for ages. I go to the charity shops because I used to go to the charity shops in the UK. There's one for dogs. There's one for people with ADHD. There's one for people with cancer. There's all of these sorts of
Love
places.
the charity shops in England.
But there's the same stuff here. We've got the Nicosia Dog Shelter charity shop. I love them very much. That's why I'm plugging them.
You do that.
And then Pasikaf has a lot of charity shops in different cities. Not in Nicosia, but they've got them in other areas. The most brilliant one is in Larnaca.
Okay.
And I really love going and spending time there because it's so well curated. And you can find all sorts of stuff, even towels. Like they wash them and they put them on display. They've got bowls. I found this lovely olive wood bowl there.
Wow.
But I mean, you can't find olive wood anymore, you find all these grail finds, and they're a couple euros each. And I've found t-shirts from Machu Picchu, like I've conquered Machu Picchu, and they've got a bunch of alpacas on them.
Wow.
So there's a lot of really fun stuff to find in there. So people now are enjoying the dig. That's what I call this, like going and digging and finding these sort of like standout pieces that you're gonna wear. And then there's a lot of vintage shops that are opening up, a lot of secondhand shops that are opening up. We've got Anastasia in the old town with the old classics and Lemons Vintage, and down the road from you, Archive has now turned into one. There's a lot of places in Nicosia. There's a bunch of places in Limassol. I think the people in Limassol are way more prepared for this.
Oh wow! Okay.
Culturally, they're a bit more. I don't know. They're a bit more.
They're picking up on the vibes quicker than we are.
They're a bit more vibey than we are.
Okay, all right.
So big props to them. There's a lot of charity shops in Paphos.
Yes, there are.
Because there's a lot of British people there.
Expats, man. That's why. Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's a positive. But oopsie.
Yeah.
But the swaps, I've been doing them since 2018. I'm going back to your question.
Yes, please go back to the swaps.
The swaps, I've seen serial swappers, like they come back.
Wow.
And they now, I mean, we've done so many actions as well with Motivo, with my project, but the swaps are something magical to me because people show up, they bring up to 5 items that they want to swap.
Yeah.
So they need to choose carefully.
Okay.
That they're bringing in value.
So you bringing 5 pieces you take 5 pieces?
You might take more than 5 pieces.
Okay.
Because the value of your items might be more than 1 token each.
Oh, wow.
And
well, who judges how valuable my pieces.
I do.
You do.
But
Okay.
I mean that's where I get to play God, you know.
Oh,
That's the only
so
time.
you're vetting and scanning and screening the...
Yeah, but if they've got a hole in them, if they've got a stain on
Okay.
them, if they're unwashed, we don't take them.
Okay.
So we want washed clothes, preferably ironed as well.
Okay.
But there's a lot of, there's like, people show up in groups and they just like, they go shopping.
When's the
because
next one,
You
babe?
get to go shopping for €5. The next one, we're doing it at the European University on the 9th of April.
Wow. Okay. Does someone need to prepare? Does someone need to
Just find the stuff that you think,
and just come?
yeah, because you no longer love the items.
Yeah.
But you feel like, so the idea of the swap is, I have these items, they're nice.
Yeah.
Or I have these items, I no longer think they're nice, but someone else might think they're nice. I no longer love them, but I'm going to give them a second chance. That's
Yeah.
why we've stopped calling them secondhand. In the world, like now people don't call secondhand, they call them pre-loved.
Ooh. Okay.
And it's such a wonderful phrase.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's something that you no longer like, but you like it enough to not throw it away and have it be loved by someone else.
So now I've heard of a recent trend now as well. The circular wardrobe, which really gets me super excited.
Okay.
This idea that your wardrobe can be sort of like a capsule. So let's say you've got your nice dress, you've got a bunch of t-shirts, you've got, your pair of jeans or whatever. And then the circular wardrobe goes like this. It's mostly on an economic scale.
Okay.
You sell so that you can refresh the wardrobe. So let's say I have a couple nice dresses. I put them up on Etsy, or I put them up on Depop or Vinted if you're in the UK. And then with the money that I get from that, I go back on the apps and I look for things. So my wardrobe doesn't shrink, my wardrobe doesn't grow.
Okay.
I have my collection of clothes.
Yeah.
And then if I feel like I no longer love them, I either swap with a friend, I either take them to a swap and find something else, or I sell so I can buy more. So in this way, you're getting your fix of dopamine because you're buying stuff.
Yeah.
But you're also feeling not guilty about it.
Yes.
And this is where I kind of hate myself for doing this activist work, because I'm making people feel guilty all the time. And this is why I'm saying that this is a hard conversation to have. What should I do? What should I do? Should I stop buying clothes? No, don't stop buying clothes, but start being a bit more conscious about it.
I would go as far as to say, yes, stop buying clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you don't want to say it, but I've got no problem saying it. I've come to this realization in the last few years. It might be my old age, who knows? But do I actually need to buy something right now? You have to have that conversation with yourself.
So during our Grand Bazaar that we had in town, the four weekends that we were doing our little local artists, local secondhand shops down the road from you at next to Hammam at the Mikriarktos. We were giving out. It was also February, so we were handing out the love check, which came out last year during February 14th, during Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And this is a love letter towards your clothes. And it's got a checklist on there. Do I need it? Does it say who made it? Will I wear it? Will I cherish it? And will I swap it? All of these questions that you have on there.
Yeah.
And you can have this in your wallet and walk around. And if you go to the till, you can bring out the love check and go, okay, all right, I need some underwear. I'm going to buy the underwear, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to buy the socks, sure. But I've got 3 jackets in my bag.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about the yellow one, so let me put the yellow one back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or am I going to wear it that much? It's very bright, Yellow is a bright color, whatever.
Yeah.
So you should, of course you should have this conversation with yourself.
yeah.
But at the same time, if you're going to buy something, try secondhand, try local. So the local, what does that give you? What joy does it give you? It gives you the joy of knowing.
When you say local, what do you mean local?
From a local designer. So from a small brand. From someone who actually spent time designing what you're going to wear.
We do have people who do this,
we've
guys.
We've
got brilliant people.
Brilliant brands in Cyprus.
Yes.
And their appeal is global. It's not just stuff that they're not making traditional Cypriot garments. They're making, I mean, for God's sake, I mean, we're taking camouflage, right, with Motivo, and we're putting flowers on it. And we've got, my cousin bought one in Canada. But I've got friends from Hong Kong texting me. I've got people from Russia who are living here who bought one. A friend has reserved one, and it's been reserved for ages, but he's gonna pick it up. But these garments are so meticulously worked on.
Yeah.
And because we know the market of Cyprus, we sort of make them slightly a bit more expensive than fast fashion.
Yeah.
But they're still affordable. Like if you go to a local brand, like, I don't know, I don't want to drop names.
Oh no, do. We're supporting local small brands.
So
I was going to say, please do drop some names.
Okay.
And also, is all these names and all this information available on the website?
Yes. So now what we've done is with the map, there's an accompanying document.
Okay.
Where you can find all the online retailers that don't have physical locations.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Maria, our mapping specialist, mapping coordinator, she did a brilliant job. She's worked so hard on this. And basically built a WordPress website to accompany the Google Map, the private Google Map that we have. And all the online retailers are there. But so, for example, I take sewing lessons. I'm a graphic designer. I don't know how to make clothes. I've been taking sewing lessons for the last 2 years because I want to understand the process. Mm-hmm. And my teacher is Georgia Moditi, but she's got
we love Georgia.
We love her. I love the stuff that she makes. They're so... But they're so bright. Mm-hmm. She uses a lot of color. Yeah. It's very island-like, the stuff that she makes.
Yeah, but also very timeless as well. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I learned from her. My friend Andrea Rozzaki now is in town. She's in Ermou.
Okay.
She makes more experimental, let's say, stuff, but they're mostly in the hues of red and black, and it's more sexy sort of outwear. I mean, she makes custom made items now as well.
Okay.
Rot is the brand.
All right.
There's, I mean, so many. I'm losing track, but there's so many.
As long as they are available to look into on the website, that's where we're going to send people.
Mm-hmm. And if you know people, and if you know brands that we could put on there,
or if you are a brand have you started making, or maybe you've opened a pre-loved clothes shop. Mm-hmm. Then please do contact us or George, so you could be included in the website. Okay, so what would you leave us with? Some tips, some advice, maybe. And you've given a lot.
Speak with love about clothes, because like I said, loved clothes last, right? And never approach someone who is... So I've had these conversations many times with people who are obsessed with buying from fast fashion, who have multiples of the same shoe or and we're having this conversation. And what I've realized is that if I speak with blame, and if I try to attack them
and shame them,
it never works.
No, it doesn't.
So we speak with love, we speak with care, we speak with compassion. Mm-hmm. Hey, maybe you haven't looked into this. Do you want me to show you some sustainable alternatives? Hey, you're wearing a lot of gym wear. Have you heard about Viartala from the UK that uses modal, you know? Have you heard about this brand who makes their shoe soles out of recycled tires or whatever?
Yeah.
Hey, I know that you like to wear more old school kind of looking things. Do you want to go secondhand shopping with me?
Yeah.
I've heard about this charity shop. It supports dogs. I know you love dogs. Let's go and help the doggos out, you know? So we can influence each other in a loving way.
Yeah.
We shouldn't push the consumers. Sign our petitions. Get involved. Learn about it. Study. There's a lot of wonderful, wonderful films, a lot of wonderful free stuff on YouTube that you could watch. Comedians doing things about this. And videos that are funny and complex, and you know, they go into depth, but they're also keeping it quite light. So we can watch something together.
Yeah.
You know? I've sort of made my mom go into secondhand because she sees this passion. So be an example for other people.
Yeah. But, you know, I also think, Giorgio, that a lot of this information just isn't out there. You know, I feel that there are many people who, you know, say, I'd love to. I'd love to buy pre-loved. I'd love to go thrifting. I'd love to do this. But I just don't know where to go or how to do it.
Well, help us map it.
Yeah. So
help
now
us
we
map
have,
it. We are now at the forefront with Fashion Revolution Week coming up. With this wonderful, I mean, we didn't come up with the idea of the map. It was already in some of the ideation stages in other countries with Fashion Revolution. Okay. So we picked it up from Colombia. Yeah. But we have this tool now. Fashion Revolution Global has the Fashion Transparency Index, where they send questionnaires to these companies and they ask them, hey, can you be transparent about your this, like about where your stuff is made, what dyes are you using, are you using pesticides on your cotton? And you can see the rankings. Wow. And sometimes the rankings are going to shock you because it speaks about transparency. So some of the fast fashion brands are actually very transparent about them being kind of evil, you know? You know, some of these companies are also not transparent, and some of them love to greenwash. Yeah. So, for example, we've been fighting, like the global activist movement in the fashion world has been fighting Patagonia to sign up to the accord, because they didn't sign up because this is a company that promotes sustainable fashion. They tell people that we're doing a lot of things for the environment and we're putting money into rewilding, but actually, what are your clothes made out of?
Yeah.
You know?
And that is the definition of greenwashing, which you mentioned earlier.
But it's like, or what are you paying your workers? Yeah. Where are your factories based? Are you looking after your communities? Right? So I struggled very much finding suppliers for my t-shirts. Yeah. Because I wanted the t-shirts to be as ethical as possible. So finding a brand that actually stands true to their morals is very hard. So as a crowd, as a group, we can create demand for these products. We can also push the companies to do better. Yeah. Yeah. We can look into the petitions. We can sign up to be advocates for this. Yeah. We can take small actions. Yeah.
And also with all this is also to promote small businesses. You know, I'm a huge advocate for that. And I believe that, especially in Cyprus, such a small market, we have amazing creators that you need to pay attention to.
And we have a history of good clothes being created on this island. Yeah. I mean, linen was one of the first crops that ever came to Cyprus. So And now it's died off. We don't have the industry.
Yeah.
So supporting the local industry, maybe we can see a boom again.
Yeah.
Maybe we can see jobs being created because there is a demand, because these brands are coming to Cyprus.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed, and I wish you well. I really honestly do. And I hope that this episode and our discussion and what you're doing will be beamed out there and people will respond to it like the bat signal. George, thank you so much.
Oh my goodness, thank you for having me. And I hope I didn't blabber on too much.
No, you didn't. This could have gone on. We've actually done an hour. That's why I'm cutting it, because we could have gone on. We could have gone on for not without any issues whatsoever. But thank you. The website will be included in the show notes, people, and keep following me on Instagram and Facebook social media, because I will promote the next clothes swap that George will be doing. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.